Alright guys, so it's finally here. The Witcher 3 came out on the Nintendo Switch on October the 15th, 2019. And I gotta say, this is the most ambitious port to the Nintendo Switch that I have personally seen, and one that I just keep finding more and more things about it that make it so interesting and so unique. And it really is something that you may want to check out if you are a fan of the Witcher 3 game itself and you love playing on the Nintendo Switch. The unportable game is here. The Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch, released on October the 14th, much to the surprise of the video game community. Like many, I had my doubts about this one. How could the Nintendo Switch even manage to pull this one off? I suspected that the game would coincide with the launch of the much rumored Nintendo Switch Pro, but of course that was not to be. As it stands, The Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch is ambitious, but one that CD Projekt Red and Saber Interactive have delivered in impressive fashion. It's all here, complete with all the updates, both DLCs, and all on a 32GB cartridge. The game runs at a dynamic 720p in docked mode and 540p when in portable mode, and mostly maintains 30 frames per second, but does have some slowdowns, especially in areas with more NPCs. But here's where things get interesting. The Witcher 3 seems to have utilised the PC version as its baseline for this port, running in both low res and low detail. And thanks to the modding community they have discovered by utilising a settings file from the PC version of the game and applying it to the Switch version unlocks additional post-processing options. By default, the post-processing menu normally provides two options, motion blur and general blur effects, but with a modded Nintendo Switch and simple copying of a patch file unlocks additional settings. From here we can apply depth of field, light shafts, underwater additional effects, adjust the foliage visibility, the quality of water, and anti-aliasing, which I believe is TAA rather than FXAA. As it stands in docked mode, it's hard to avoid the blurry display. Once again, 720p and 30 FPS is the target, and it is impressive to see running on a Tegra X1. Sacrifices were definitely made for this port to run on the Nintendo Switch. But by turning up the additional post-processing options will allow us to increase the graphic fidelity, and for me the best option is to max out the sharpness and disable the AA, giving that crisp looking image. Now of course applying these post-processing options will drop FPS, but with some slight overclocking can bring the game back to 30 FPS. Although The Witcher 3 utilises a dynamic resolution, there is no way to increase dock resolutions past 720p, which means 1080p is not possible as it stands. Still, I much prefer the look with the sharpness filter applied. It makes the game look much nicer in dock mode. But here's where things get interesting. In the same fashion of the post-processing menu, it's also possible to uncap the frame rate, which was set to 30 FPS. Now you're probably thinking, surely there's no way that The Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch would ever hit 60 FPS. Well, you might be surprised. Let's go ahead and run a few tests. First of all, in order for the 60 FPS mode to work, we first must remove the dynamic resolution option, as this is looking to lock the game at 30 FPS at all times. With that done, let's try 720p with an uncapped frame rate. Now if we apply the post-processing effects, we see a slight dip in performance as we would expect, but a better image overall. Now by pushing the overclock to the max at 1.7 GHz for the CPU and 921 MHz for the GPU, we see an overall increase of 8 to 10 FPS. But this is nowhere near 60 frames per second, so let's go ahead and try another approach. This time we'll focus on docked mode and target 540p. Now let's try an overclock of 1.7 GHz and a GPU of 900 MHz. Now this is a lot more promising. As you can see, the frame rate is much higher and in some cases actually hits the magical 60 FPS. I'm quite amazed at how well this game scales, as I didn't think that this would even be possible. Now of course, this is far from a locked 60 FPS, but it does show how good this port to the Switch really is. And of course, this is my speculation for now, as it's not confirmed, nor will it ever likely to be announced, at least not for a while, but this might be a glimpse as to what the Nintendo Switch Pro might look like, assuming one does exist. Games like The Witcher will automatically scale accordingly to a more powerful CPU and GPU, and with some additional tweaks, can really improve visuals and performance. As it stands, CD Projekt Red and Saber Interactive made the right move with both frame rate and resolutions, and it's very obvious they pushed the game as far as they could given the constraints that they had to work with. The Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch, a portable game system, is an amazing feat. The game is more than playable in both handheld and dock mode, but I do wish they added some type of additional options or a performance mode to uncap the frame rate and utilize some of the additional post-processing effects. While the game looks and plays smooth as it stands with an unlocked frame rate and an overclocked Nintendo Switch, it's difficult to go back to the regular 30 FPS cap. But if there is to be new Nintendo hardware that's being developed right now, this game will take advantage of any performance increases that is thrown at the hardware. And it really kind of makes me wonder whether The Witcher 3 is one of those games that will just be developed and just scale up for the Switch Pro if and when it arrives. Hopefully it gets announced next year, but of course, no one really knows whether there is a Switch Pro or not. It's just speculation at this point. But so there are my thoughts on the post-processing menu and the overclocking on the Nintendo Switch. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Is The Witcher 3 something you're planning on picking up for the Switch? If you have a modded Switch, I would say pick up the game and enjoy these free enhancements that you get for no additional cost. That really makes the game look a lot nicer, especially in portable mode. And with the ability to overclock, you really just smooth out performance as well. That really makes the game a lot more enjoyable. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you like The Witcher 3? Have you played the game and don't have any interest in picking it up for the Switch? Are you planning on picking it up for the Nintendo Switch? I really want to hear your thoughts down below. Well guys, we're going to leave it here for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, you know what to do. Leave me a thumbs up or let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.